how's the conference going to feel about this vote?
It's a great question. This is a huge test for Speaker Johnson. He has just passed a funding bill with a majority of Democratic votes and a huge number of Republicans voting against it. Granted, a majority of Republicans did support it. But can his speakership survive this vote? I strongly suspect that it will. And I think that's a good thing for the country, that he's got that kind of political flexibility to bring things to the floor that aren't unanimously supported by his conference. This is actually a very good sign.
Well, this is a question we've been asking all day, Lester, is why is he getting grace that Kevin McCarthy was not granted? And actually, Congressman Matt Gaetz, one of the 8 who voted to oust McCarthy, was speaking with a Bloomberg reporter earlier, and he said Kevin McCarthy had 7 months. Mike Johnson didn't have that much time to figure this out, so maybe that's part of it. The fact of the matter, though, Kristen, remains that this is a clean continuing resolution. Yes, it keeps the government funding. What it does not include are things that Democrats, and specifically the White House, really want. Funding for Israel and Ukraine, part of this emergency request. So where do we go from here on those issues?
I mean, it's going to be difficult, and it'll, it's yet to be seen, how long this grace period lasts for the speaker. I mean, if you have a governing majority of Democrats and Republicans in the House, they can clearly get stuff done. But with, a motion to vacate the speakership, they've kind of set themselves up for failure. So it's going to be very difficult. We've not only got the funding issues to deal with, but like you said, Ukraine aid, Israel, and you're all looking at these very difficult decisions. So I would guess that there are going to be a lot of staff who are going to be working through the holidays to try to meet these deadlines.
Boy. A lot of staff is working overtime now for the president as he prepares for a very important meeting tomorrow in San Francisco with President Xi. Lester, you can put your Foreign Relations Committee hat back on for us for a moment here. There have been questions about what would qualify as a win. Should expectations be as low as they are? But it's been a long time since these two gentlemen were together, and even longer since President Xi left China. What are the stakes here? What would look like progress to you?
Well, I think the fact that they're sitting down and talking is a good thing. It's going to resonate for President Biden. It's he's speaking to the next most important leader in the world here in the United States, and they're going to have some kind of accomplishments from this summit. It could be better military to military contacts, things like that. Some of this work on artificial intelligence. I'm a little pessimistic that it'll actually be carried out by China, but some of that could be good for the president. I worry about some of the promises he had to make to get Xi Jinping to San Francisco and some of the concessions he may have had to offer just to have this meeting at all. And so I think that's what we're likely to see Congress push back on. Once Congress kind of sorts through this spending issue, I expect them to be pushing back on the White House on China relations. There's a little bit of an opening here for the hardliners to go after the president.
Kristen, we only have about 30 seconds, but what's at stake for Biden tomorrow?
I think there's a lot. He's shown himself to be a leader on the world stage. I think, people vote for their domestic priorities. Can they put food on the table? But I think that it's, a lot's at stake for his presidency and his legacy.